Hello everybody, welcome back to Planet X News. We are live here on Facebook, January 4th, 2018. We're getting pretty close to 11 p.m. here on the East Coast. And ladies and gentlemen, I hope all of you are staying very safe, very warm, and out of danger of this massive bomb cyclone that is impacting pretty much the entire East Coast of the United States. And, you know, we're going to get into some weather here very shortly. But one of our Planet X followers, her name's Dawn Stowell, very, very nice lady. I was just over on her live stream. But the other day, she had inboxed me a photograph of the sun. It was coming from the stereo imaging, and the sun was completely dark. And these spacecraft, they're using very sophisticated camera systems, and you see the different colors of the sun. You see them in my videos, and that's extreme ultraviolet light. And there's several of these cameras on the spacecraft, and they'll show the sun in several different colors, and those colors are basically different levels of the ultraviolet light that the sun's giving off. They're mainly using that to see coronal holes, sunspots, and these coronal mass ejections, filaments, things of that nature on the sun. But it's revealed a lot for us investigating Planet X because we're actually able to get visuals. But when Dawn sent me this photograph of the sun just, you know, kind of completely black, I've really never seen that before. And Dr. Albers has written about the sun going dark. And, you know, we do see a lot of evidence of it. But then all of a sudden, you know, when Dawn sent me this photograph, I immediately went back and started researching through the data. Because, listen, folks, once you come on to something, you have to document it. You have to take screenshots. And even, you know, if you have the opportunity to catch some screenshot video or download the video, you know, save it, because they delete this stuff. Okay, so I was able to go back pretty quick and capture the information. I was a victim of what I just told you, because I had two visuals on NASA deleting this footage of the sun going dark. And I'm going to explain what they did, because there are several versions and a couple different websites that show the same thing immediately when the data is transmitted back from the craft and uploaded to the public website. Sometimes they look at it, sometimes they don't, but they do scrub the information as soon as we make a discovery. Well, I'll be truthful. You know, I know that they listen in on me in probably many ways than one. And I had been discussing this. I had been researching it. I had been saving the photographs, and bingo, here we go. So there's no doubt they tried to scrub this particular frame where the sun was going dark. But they only did it on 2 of the 3 websites where we could access the identical information. That's where they failed. They scrubbed it on the stereo. They scrubbed it on the Soho website, but they forgot to scrub it on the integrated space weather site. And that's actually where Dawn was getting her picture that she sent me. I'm going to go ahead and start sharing some of this information with you guys. So let me back out of here real quick. Well, let me make sure we're good to go. Now this is the first photograph here, and we're going by a specific date. Let me zoom in here for you. This is the date right here, January 2nd at 1:13 a.m. And this is universal time. Now on the stereo website, whenever I pulled this information up, and this is what we're going by, the picture that Dawn sent me. But the picture she sent me, the sun was completely black at this same date and time. See, folks, these time stamps are very important when you're trying to match this information up. So anyways, I looked at Soho and Stereo, two websites, same date and time stamp, the sun, you know, in its green ultraviolet light. This is the sensor that picks up a level of extreme ultraviolet light. It turns it green. So we can see they added some color. Basically, that's what they did. They added some color. So I go to the Integrated Space Weather site. This is where Dawn had picked up her information. On the same date and time, the sun's black. The sun went dark. There you go. So how's that possible? You know, we ask that question. Let's go back. Here's your date stamp right here, and this is coming from the stereo site. Then we go to the integrated weather site, which they didn't scrub this information. So we know that NASA manipulates this information, makes it harder and harder to detect anything. But I'm telling you, folks, they slip up a lot. And the more and more we stay on top of it, you know, banding together with this information, people are going to make finds. And when you make finds and you share that information, whether you share it with me or somebody else, you know what Dawn shared with me, you know, it wasn't a Planet X discovery, but it was a pure and simple deception on what is happening out there on the sun. And Dr. Albers has just about proven that there are periods where this sun, our sun, goes dark. We've talked about the magnetic interchange between Planet X and the sun. We know that is occurring. We know that there are very high possibilities that there are sun simulators in our atmosphere out there in, you know, very close space above the Earth. Many people have proven it. I think that I have proven it. Many people on YouTube have proven it. We've gotten some really hardcore photographic evidence. So, you know, this situation that has arisen here with the sun going dark, you say to yourself, oh, is it a problem with the camera? No, it's not a problem in the camera, because all three of these websites, they're using the same data, except the Integrated Space Weather, well, you know, that's not completely run by NASA. So that's why the information didn't get scrubbed. But on all of the NASA websites, the sun going dark on January 2nd at 1:13 a.m., yeah, that's what happened. So you ask yourself, you know, is there any other way that this can happen? You know, breakdown in the data transmission to Integrated Space Weather? No. Nope. Doesn't work that way. So the fact of the matter is, Integrated Space Weather did not scrub their information because they probably weren't told to. It got uploaded. We found it. We documented it. And now I went back to, you know, check it and see if they had scrubbed the information on Integrated Space Weather. And they did. Now there are very large chunks of the data right here on the timestamps. You know, I catch them all the time deleting hours, sometimes even a day, you know, or like 20 hours or 22 hours. And there's a reason why they do that. So I've split these two objects off in a split screen for you here. And we're looking at the stereo image. Same time, same date, same bat channel. And here we go from Integrated Space Weather. Same time, same date, and same spacecraft, same camera. So what's the deal? So there you go, folks. I mean, you could see the battles that we have with information, trying to get the information, trying to search. You know, a lot of people may not think that this is a big deal, finding more deception. But some people may think, well, who cares about Planet X? Who cares about all that? Well, let me tell you something right now. All of the millions of people trying to survive what is happening on the east coast of the United States right now with this bomb cyclone storm, you haven't seen anything yet. Excuse me. If any of you think this is just some freak occurrence, you're sadly mistaken. If you think any of this has to do with you know, the changing climate, well, yeah, the climate's changing drastically. It is pretty well freaking out meteorologists around the world. They're scrambling for science based in what they're trained in. And they're really not looking outside of the box other than what they've been told, what they've been taught in their academic career. So they're not going to look abroad to see what is happening. Are they going to look at the sun? They may look at a little bit of data. Do they know about Planet X? Maybe they've heard about it. Will they ever talk about it? Absolutely not. So we see the situation here with the sun possibly going dark. It didn't last for a very long period of time. Maybe an hour, maybe two. It's hard to say the way they manipulate this data. But this was a big find. This was a big find and a big capture as far as seeing the deception within NASA, the space agencies, you know, basically our governments too. If they did report that the sun went dark for an hour or two, and they announced that, that would probably freak a lot of people out. Would we notice something like this on Earth? Well, absolutely. As fast as it takes the speed of light to arrive at Earth, yes, you would notice something like this. Therefore, these are the reasons for these sun simulators. You know, folks, and believe me, there's more than one. We're probably looking at some older technology and some newer technology that's up there. And they've probably had this up there and probably built some of it in space. You know, and we're not talking about something that's super complex for space agencies. They built the space station. So they can, you know, they can build these other devices. So, you know, let's give them that much credit. So this is the situation that we were looking at here, and I thank Dawn very much. She did a great job, you know, getting that information to me, because I would have never found this. I would have never, you know, seen it, because I don't go to Integrated Space Weather to look at these sun models that much. I go directly to the NASA sites, but I'm going to change some of that, you know, in my daily routine. That much is a fact. So we all saw I hope you guys can see this. It's slightly blurry. I tried to clear this up. But this was from New Year's Day. And we divulged all of the information on this find during this coronal mass ejection. Well, listen, after I divulged this, showed everybody this, here's a better look at it in black and white. Well, no sooner than I did this, checking back yesterday and today to see if NASA had kind of scrubbed the information, blurred it out, pixelized it. Well, they did. They most certainly did. So this was just a side-by-side. This was the actual photograph and capture from the stereo Core 2 image, January 1st, 2018. You can see the object here. You can see it right here. It is now leaving away from the sun in its really tight orbit. The orbit of this object around the sun is approximately 27 to 30 days. It goes very, very quickly. Very quickly. This object is definitely inside of the orbit of Mercury. Mercury takes about 88 days to orbit the sun. It's on a little bit of an elliptical north to south orbit. This object is definitely within the orbit of Mercury and the sun. There's no doubt about it. I've been tracking it like this now since May of 2017 is when I really caught on to what was happening with the dynamics of this object whipping around the sun. Remember, folks, this object has a very, very strong magnetic field, probably similar to that of the sun, but not as powerful as the sun. You know, we kind of size this object up as being anywhere from 3 to 5 times the size of Jupiter. So it is a pretty massive object. It is very, very strong as far as its magnetic field. Its magnetic field will also interrupt and interact with the Earth's magnetic field. So you're wondering about the weather. So, you know, if you go and you start to learn and research about magnetic fields, you'll understand more about what I'm about to tell you. So as the Earth rotates around the sun in its orbit, and Planet X is making its fast orbit around the sun is rotating. You also have interactions with very strong magnetic fields from Jupiter, and, you know, it is what it is, folks. It's the dynamics of our solar system. Well, when these magnetic fields start to interplay with each other, one is stronger than the other, meaning Planet X's magnetic field is much, much stronger than the Earth. As we proceed in our orbit around the sun, we're going to come into periods in that orbit where we may be just a little bit closer to this very fast orbit of Planet X. And when this happens, this is going to take our North Pole and it's going to grab a hold of it and it's going to kind of put some force and some energy on our planet, meaning it's going to tilt it a little bit. It's going to create more of a wobble. So when I talk about a wobble, I'm referring to, let's just say, think about a top, you know, the little kid's toy, and you spin that top. Whenever the rotation starts to slow down, what happens to the top? It starts to wobble. So that's what we're referring to. Now, the wobble's not as extreme as the kid's toy because we're dealing with a much larger object such as the Earth. So that wobble actually takes about pretty close to a year for that whole wobble. It's kind of a slow process. But as Planet X keeps grabbing onto our North Pole and giving us that little extra tilt, well, that's where we're going to see a huge disruption in the North Pole. Last year, the North Pole, the Arctic region, had very, very significant ice melt during the spring and summer and fall solstice. Now we're into winter. The tilt is away from the sun, and therefore all of those Arctic temperatures, well, naturally, that would come from not being exposed to the direct sun and that additional tilt. Space is very cold, folks. Without the sun, we don't survive. So when you tilt the planet more kind of away from the sun, well, you're going to see these huge Arctic regions start to develop in the North Pole region of our planet. That's already happened. It also disrupts the jet stream in both the northern and southern hemispheres of our planet. And these jet streams, well, you know, folks, for the last 2 years, they've been completely out of control. I'm going to go ahead and just show you real quick what I'm talking about here. Okay, this is our jet stream right here. This is a current up-to-date model. This is a very, very good model I use. It allows me to do and see a lot of what's going on with the dynamics of the weather. Excuse me. Now you can see what's happening right here. Look at this big jet stream coming down right through here, sweeping up. Now this is what actually took the storm and shoved it right up the East Coast. We'd have to actually go back in time a little bit to see the dynamics, how things were set up for this type of storm. And I'm going to show you how this is going to continue. And we're probably looking at somewhere by the end of January, maybe the middle of January, possibly another situation like we're seeing now. So I'm going to back off a little bit here. I'm going to show you the jet stream, and it's pretty erratic, and it's very, very wide. See how thick this jet stream is? It's very unusual. It's definitely not normal. Now, what is setting up the dynamics of these storms and this last one? If you take a look at the jet stream as it's coming off through the northern Pacific. Last week, this jet stream was pulling up very warm air right into the cuff of Alaska, Canada, the northern part of the United States here on the West Coast. When it pushed up all of this hot air directly into the ice cold air up in Canada, and we had this very low dip, it pushed all this cold air directly down into the United States, where it was caught by another jet stream, and boom, you have this huge convergence of energy, which sucked that storm right up the East Coast. Basically, it looked like a hurricane. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up some surface temperatures here. And this will show you how far, excuse me, how far this ice cap has formed. And listen, folks, if we go back 30 days, 60 days, this ice cap on the top of our Earth was about 1/3 of the size. If we roll back to the Antarctic, this was about the size of the North Pole. Now, look at it. So you ask yourself, well, how would this happen? Why does this happen? Let's just take the Earth here, our equator. In a perfect world, if the Earth did not have this so-called tilt, we probably wouldn't have seasons. But the Earth is slightly tilted back at about this position. This is about 23.5 degrees. If you tilt the Earth back just a little bit more, let's just say 5 to 8 degrees, well, what have you done? You've now pushed all of this Arctic air in the North Pole region. Well, you've actually pushed it down. Just take a look at it. So if you push the Earth backwards, you're going to force this air downwards. I hope that makes sense to everybody, because that's what's occurring. How do we know this? So if you have this tilt like this, so this is less direct energy from the sun. If you rotate around, take a look at the landmass of Australia. Well, right now, Australia is the hottest place on this planet. Temperatures well over 100, 110, 114, 15, 120. It's going to get worse. So as we tilted backwards a little bit, this now became more exposed to the direct sun. Australia. The other landmass would be the most southern tip of Africa. However, they are getting cooled, their temperatures, by some of the air from the Antarctic because of the jet stream patterns. The same thing applies for the most southern tip of South America. They should be very hot under these conditions. However, if you see the airflow is coming up from the Arctic, which is cooling them down. So that might be a good thing for them right now, or they would have temperatures well over 100 degrees every single minute of the day. So this is what we're dealing with. We're dealing with a very large push of this Arctic air down into, probably 80% of the United States. It's going to get worse before it gets any better. Now, a lot of people have been asking me, what's the timeline on this? How much of this weather are we going to be going through? Well, folks, that's kind of hard to say. As far out as I can see, up into about January 20th, that doesn't look too good. It actually looks pretty bad. And not trying to scare anybody here or anything, but there's another system setting up out here in the Pacific, and it's about to do the same identical thing that just happened a week ago. And I'll show you a little bit of that real quick. Right now, what we're looking at is the current radar map. It's right on time, 11 p.m. And this is the current situation for all of the folks on the East Coast. Folks, I was watching this system set up a few days before meteorologists were even talking about it, because I've been studying weather for more than 20 years. I lived in South Florida, in Miami for 22 years, so I got used to hurricanes and bad weather and stuff like that. So I started learning and paying very close attention to weather, learning all about it. And now with the internet and different websites, different satellites in space that are giving us this this information, it's a little bit easier to gain some data, do your own predictions if you understand some of these dynamics of this weather. So I kind of knew this was going to get set up from what was happening. The jet stream was pushing really, really far down, but the reason why, you're looking at another system right here. The system that pushed all of this cold air down, it came up right through here where this system is, and it literally pushed in. When this high pressure pushed into all of this cold air, along with the jet stream, it sucked all of this Arctic air straight down and then looped back up. When it looped back up, there was already this small system coming in here. They basically converged. So you have warm temperatures meshing together with Arctic temperatures, and with the speed of the jet stream and how wide and how powerful and how low it was, well, you're going to have these superstorms becoming a part of your life. Possibly, it's not even going to matter where you live on this planet. At certain stages during a calendar year and where you live and the tilt of this earth, you're going to be in harm's way of this type of potential very dangerous weather systems. The scary part is that they form very rapidly. Meteorologists get their hands on it, but then, like the hurricane season that just passed, they get surprised by the dynamics of the storm and how fast the strength increases, and then the statement comes out. We've never seen this before. We've never seen this before. See, folks, those are the key words. Of course, we've never seen this before, because in our lifetimes, this has never happened. We haven't been into this stage of Planet X interacting with our sun. We haven't been faced with any of that until now. So over the course of the last 2 years, all of this, the whole dynamics has gotten worse. This is what I've been warning people about for a long time. Some don't believe it, but here we are 2 years later. Everything that I've talked about is basically, falling into play, sad to say. I answer so many emails every single day, as many as I can, and the inbox messages on our Facebook page. I do the best I can to try to get back to everybody. It's kind of overwhelming, but this is what we do. But folks, we have to understand what is happening, and getting caught in some of these situations, getting caught unaware of what's happening. Again, I'm not trying to scare any of you, but people are losing their lives, and it would be sad for any of us to become a statistic because we, maybe denounced the information that's out there. We don't believe in it. We think it's nonsense. Well, all of that type of thinking could possibly cost you your life because you want to be so stone-headed. I mentioned before, folks, it's very interesting to be living in this time. It's amazing, scary, interesting. But like I said, we have to learn to live with what is happening. So if things around you in your habitat, your life, are changing, then what do? You have to adapt to what is happening. But in order for you to adapt to what is happening, you have to understand what's happening. Remember, knowledge is power. the more knowledge you have about what is happening, the better off you're going to be. So, getting back to this weather, let me take a sip of my coffee here. Now, getting back to what's happening, I'll let this play out a little bit. Now, this is going into Saturday. Now, I stopped this. You can see this crazy, absolutely crazy, insane system up here between Russia and Alaska. Extremely warm air and temperatures, in the southern Alaska area. Unseasonable. Once again, you can see as this air starts to push in here. Folks, this is going to happen again. The big Arctic push into the United States, it's not over, and it's not anywhere being done with freezing us to death. I'm going to let this play out a little bit more. You'll see the system start to move away. And bingo. Okay, we're now on Sunday the 7th. Now, folks, this is what I'm talking about. These very, very, very strange weather anomalies that should not be happening in January. But they are. They are absolutely enormous, and they are deadly. Deadly. If you take a look right over here to the left, and you see what just formed instantaneously in front of your eyes, that is the size of a massive hurricane. If we zoom in on it, I'd say that is a well-defined eye. I mean, what do you guys think? If I back up a little bit, I'll put it right in the middle of the screen. Now that's what's going to be forming on Sunday. Well, actually before then. Let's back up to Friday, Saturday. Let's let this play out because you're going to see right here where the formation begins. Yes, I'll stop it right there. So you can see in about a 36-hour time frame, this thing blows up into what looks like a massive cyclone, hurricane, typhoon, whatever you want to call it. Very dangerous. Give me 1 second, folks. So we're going to go ahead and let this play out. Let's see where this bad boy goes. All right, sorry about that. I was just turning my phone down. I thought it was going to ring on me. Okay, folks, I'm going to back this up a little bit because I want to show you something how this convergence is happening. So you see this massive weather system right here. This is Monday, January 8th. You know, folks, it's 2 days away. Okay, so when we have this type of situation occurring, this is bad. really, really bad. You have very, very cold air being sucked in here. You have very, very warm air being pulled up from the Pacific. Could you imagine being in the center of that? Wind speeds are not that high, 46 miles an hour. Let's see how close to the eye they are. Oh, it doesn't want to give us a speed. It won't detect a speed near the eye. That's strange. It's probably much faster, 60, 70 miles an hour, close in here. But what I wanted to show you, I'm going to let this go ahead and run out, and I'll capture it when it hits. So you're into Wednesday the 10th. Okay, we're going to watch. This is what happened last week. So it's going to happen again. We're going to see this system here form rapidly, also possibly down here. It's going to converge right into this area again of Western Canada. As it pushes in, you'll see it dissipate, but the force of these highs right here, they're going to push in, and they're going to slam more Arctic air down into the United States. But let's watch it form here. Let's see if it's correct. Bingo, right there. If you zoom into that, now you tell me that doesn't look like a small hurricane. Let's see if we can get some wind. I'm gonna have to back off here to get a wind reading. It's not giving me any wind readings. So as we look at this situation here, last week, what created this Arctic vortex to drop into the United States, a system like this, but a little bit larger, it came in up here. As it came in up here into northwest central Canada, it blew in here and went straight down. It pushed all of this air down into the United States. And then the jet stream just pushes that cold air straight across the country to the East Coast. So now we are on Thursday the 11th, and we see the dynamics of this setting up again. Now, one of two things could happen here. This system could push out a lot of this cold air, which would, pretty much warm this region of the United States. They would have pretty moderate and warm temperatures. It may clear out Washington and Oregon, Idaho. But let's check. I only have 2 more days where this model will run out, so let's see what happens. Okay, it looks like there's going to be a little bit of a break around the 12th. It looks like the Arctic air ate that system up, but it sent some moisture and some warmer temperatures into Montana, Wyoming, some of these areas up here in Canada, Illinois, Indiana, Texas warming up a little bit, but it's probably short-lived. Wow. Holy Christ. You know, while I was paying attention over here to the United States, I fell to look what was happening over here. Holy hell. Take a look at this. Watch this. Oh, dear God. Oh, God. Oh. This is midday Saturday, January 13th. Take a look at that. Wow, folks, this has me a little freaked out here. Earlier today, the weather models weren't going out past Thursday, January 11th. So now that the satellites have picked up more data, it goes into these models based on what they're seeing with the jet stream, temperatures, wind, the whole 9 yards. We picked up 2 more days, which would be Friday and all of Saturday, the 12th and 13th of January. Well, I'm using the same sophisticated weather information that meteorologists are using. They're not using anything different than me. I have access to everything they do. And what you're looking at here, I just can't even explain that. That's insane. And that is going just into Saturday, January 13th. Now, this is everything that is at the surface. So this is impacting land, just so you know. If you look over here where my cursor is, you see the setting is at surface. Now, we can move that setting up to higher levels in the sky, in the atmosphere. And when you want to analyze the actual jet stream, you have to go all the way up. One sec, let me drag this down. You have to go all the way up here to this setting. This will show you the actual jet stream that we refer to, that I just showed you on the other model. Now, I can click this over into a 3D Earth model, and why don't we go ahead and do that real quick. I'll show you what I mean with this jet stream being completely screwed up. So now we'll see the jet stream. This is your jet stream right here. You see how the jet stream has come in. It is manipulating the weather in the Pacific. The reason why is because, here we go, with the Earth tilt. This would be about the normal tilt of the Earth. If you tilt it back a little bit more, just 5 to 8 degrees, folks, would really screw us up bad. So if you tilted the Earth back like that a little bit, which that's probably pretty close to the position, you're going to expose the Earth to these extreme changes in the jet stream and less direct energy from the sun, whatever we're getting. And I'm going to go ahead and pull this all the way back to where we're at today. And I'll let you watch the jet stream flow over the next couple of days. So you'll see, I'll just tilt it forward. I'm going to move it over just a little bit so you can see what is coming from the west to the east. So I'll go ahead and play it for you so you get a better understanding of what's happening. See, I'm going to stop it right there, and I'll just show you something. You see how the jet stream has pushed in right here, where I was talking about earlier, what set the dynamics up for the big deep freeze in the United States and set up the blizzard conditions on the East Coast, what they're going through right now. So you can see this wide band. I mean, this is almost, I would say probably 3 to 4 times the normal size of our jet stream. So the jet stream patterns, they have actually increased, and the strength is absolutely insane at this point. So you can see as it pushed in what it did, and it literally pushed all of that Arctic air right down into the United States. So I'm going to go ahead and jump back to the other model. Just give me a second here, folks. I'm going to switch over to another weather model. Where the hell's my next lab? We're going to take a look at what's happening over there right now real quick. Get the radar in from Boston right now. Let this load up. Now, there's a lot going on in South America right now as far as the weather. I'm not going to go ahead and get into any of that, but it is just absolutely insane weather in some of the South American countries. I'm talking catastrophes, just absolutely horrible. You know, we're dealing with our own mess up here, but countries like Ecuador, oh my dear God. You know, big problems right now going on over in Germany, Switzerland, Spain, France. They dodged a few bullets over there in the UK, but that's not going to last. They're going to be in for their own freak weather coming up probably within the next 24 to 48 hours. They're going to get a taste of some bad medicine coming from this weather. But you can see this storm system is now sucking its way right out of the Boston, Massachusetts area. Kind of a good thing that this storm was very, very fast moving, because if it wasn't, the snow totals would have probably been double or triple and a lot more damage. Now, I posted a bunch of videos on the Planet X News Facebook page that were all coming in from the shorelines of Massachusetts. Absolutely devastating. This produced a storm surge. Where do you hear that terminology? Storm surge. You hear that terminology during hurricane season. You know, this storm was almost like a tropical storm. A little bit more intensity, and it would have been in the Category 1 hurricane stage. So, as you see the way that rotated, it literally rotated. It had an eye. It was very set up, and it literally pushed all of that water all the way through all of these areas of Massachusetts, all of this coastal area, southern Maine. I mean, it's just, this was probably one hell of a ride for these people along this corridor right here. Pretty intense. But thank God the storm moved very quickly, because then you'll see, just like water going down your bathtub drain, it's getting sucked right out. At the same time, this is also good because hopefully this will start recessing the shoreline, the water that surged up into these land masses. So, you know, in the next 12 to 24 hours, a lot of that should get sucked right back out, and they'll get a chance to dry out. But the big problem is they may be drying out, but the freeze, the temperatures, well, that's not going away. that's actually going to get worse in the next couple of days. I'll just show you a few clips here that I got. Oh, you know what? They're on the Planet X News page. Let's jump on there real quick. Yeah, a lot of unusual earthquakes going on right now. Just going to buzz down here to a few of these pics here real quick. This was a 2-day minimum temperature. This will be ending this timeline over here on Saturday the 6th. As you can see, now let me back up one. As you can see, the temperatures aren't going anywhere. My area here in the Pittsburgh area, -0. I don't know how you could get a -0. 0 is cold enough, right? But you can see -5, -3. The temperatures over here, 6, 5, 5, 6, -2. Coming up into this neck of the woods where the storm hit pretty bad up here in Rhode Island and Massachusetts. -3, -7, -5. So they may dry out a little bit from this storm surge, but you know, the cold temperatures, it's going to be a big, big problem, folks. And you know, for any of you living in any of these areas, listen, heed the warnings, because this is very, very dangerous situation. And like I said, you know, we're not going anywhere with this right now. It's kind of here to stay, and we're going to be looking at some trying times coming up through the rest of this month. Now, we may hit some little periods where temperatures go up in certain areas. Don't let it fool you, because it only may last a half a day or a day. But other than that, don't look forward to springtime temperatures anytime soon. As far as the 24-hour snowfall accumulations, ending Thursday, January 4th, 14.6. Zoom in here a little bit. I can't zoom on this. You can see the snowfalls. 11, 13, 12, 14. I'm sure some of these snowfalls will increase once all the data's in. But you can see how it just barely made its way inland. And I was saying earlier, when I was watching the models, I was telling Dr. Albers prior to this hitting, I said, you know what? If this storm system moves 50 miles to the west before it impacts land, or during that time, this would be a huge disaster for many, many more states. Many more states that only caught the tail end, the fringe of this. Imagine if this storm would have made its way 50 miles inland, more to the west. Wow. Would have been catastrophic. So, you know, folks, things are setting up for these types of issues. They're not going to go away, you know. Here's a video right here that I posted. I think this is coming out of Boston, Channel 7 News. Let me get rid of these here real quick. They're rescuing this guy from his house in huge floodwaters.
And you can see here, this is a rescue that was taking place in Hull. Look at this. They had this backhoe come up to the edge here. This is how they had to rescue someone from a second-story building here. You can hear the rescue happen a little bit. Look at this. This is amazing, amazing video here from Hull of a rescue from a second-story building here. This backhoe went up there, reached up there, grabbed this person, brought them down there. But you can see how deep the...
Folks, you see how deep that water is. Let me back this up a little bit. Look, I used to drive heavy equipment like this at one time. And these tires are huge. I mean, look at this area. It's flooded, completely flooded. There's so much coming out from the Boston area and areas in Massachusetts. We're going to take a look at some of it real quick. This is coming out of Brant Rock, Michigan. I'm going to go let that play again because this was... What the hell just happened here? This happened just as the storm surge began. You want to talk about a fast storm surge. Look at that. You know, folks, and you got these people out there that say, oh, there's nothing going on. Oh, everything is normal. Blah, 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 blah. These are the people that you know, they call you insane. They're insane, basically. This is some more coming out of the same area. That's pretty insane. You know, that's in the middle of the day. You can't even see the sun. Complete whiteout conditions. This was a pretty interesting video. This is also coming out of Massachusetts. And yes, folks, that's water all the way up to the tires and bumpers of that pickup truck. Look at that. You know, folks, and this is what occurred earlier today. So, folks, you know, I could only express use caution, and you know, as you keep yourself in tune with the information that's out there. That's how deep it is.
Wow.
Let me just get this. This was a fire truck. I believe this was also in Boston.
3 going at it.
I can actually see how deep it is with that guy wading through. I mean, he's knee deep in that stuff.
Yeah, I think this guy was delivering a pizza.
I know, a pizza delivery guy, man, making the call, making the run. That's impressive.
Yeah, you can see, folks, people already being rescued. Keeping up on this information. I'm telling you, we all need to share the information nonstop. I mean, that's just the bottom line. The more and more people that understand what's happening, the potential dangers. Look at this. I mean, all you can hear in the background, folks, is, you know, rescue vehicles. And, you know, they do give some good advice whenever they tell you to, you know, stay home, stay off the roadways, things of that nature. Definitely, you know, if you don't have to go out, don't go out. These situations can catch up on you very, very quickly. It could be life or death. There's a lot of information that's coming out. I'm trying to gather as much as I can.
You underwater?
But look at this. I mean, that's water. That's water and ice. Absolutely insane. I mean, a lot of video footage coming in. This one here, I'm going to share this one with you guys because this one was pretty scary. If you look at the water levels and this storm surge coming in, this is up in Massachusetts. Somebody's little red wagon disappearing. I saw somebody just ask me to get on topic and to tell you why all of this was happening. You know, I don't know if you're trying to be a smartass there or something, but I'm always on topic. This is what I do, and I just spent the last hour explaining why this is happening. So maybe you're jumping in here a little late, but you know, once again, folks, we're not going to see any end to this. The extreme Earth tilt, well, you're always going to have people that are going to dispute that. Let's pull up this weather map again. So I'll explain it to this individual one more time. Let me get on the 3D mode right here real quick. Here's our globe one more time. Our 23-degree tilt is about right here. That's normal. But there's nothing normal out there anymore. Because of the interference with Planet X and the Sun and their magnetic fields clashing, our orbit around the Sun, Planet X's orbit around the Sun, this is all affecting our planet. So it's literally taking the North Pole up here, grabbing onto it, and tilting the Earth back probably about 5 to 8 degrees. I would have to guess it's more closer to an additional 8 degrees, which causes all of the jet streams to start to sink further. You're going to have jet streams, and I'll move up to the jet stream setting. The jet streams are completely out of control. And what you're seeing here in the blue is the jet stream. I have a better model of this. But you're also seeing the wide swath of the Arctic now stretching in this manner. There you go. So 2 months ago, the frozen Arctic region was about as round as I'm moving my cursor. In the last 45 days, it's actually quadrupled in size. As the jet stream continues to push, it's going to keep pushing this Arctic air and sinking it straight down into the United States. One of the main reasons why is because our Earth is actually tilted back a little bit more than normal. Looking at extreme temperatures, the complete opposite is happening in Australia, the hottest place on the planet. So, folks, you know, understanding the dynamics of what's happening, you know, it's a big plus. I try to do my best to explain it to all of you. I mean, it literally takes me hours and hours and hours and hours and hours every single day of researching and learning and understanding the dynamics of what's happening. But see, I've been doing this for a long time, so, you know, I'm a little ahead of the game, but my main goal is to teach all of you what I know, sharing it with you so you can share it with others. You know what? We're going to go ahead and jump out of here for a second. Let's do something here real quick. Give me a second, folks. Just let me whack somebody. Yeah, this guy over here in our live chat over here, this Mr. Colton, what's his name? Colton Rusher. Yeah, he's saying that NASA proved that Planet X is not there. Now, NASA hasn't proven anything, buddy, except to be a damn liar and hiding the information from the world. And that much is a fact. So if you don't believe in what we're talking about, what we're researching, then why are you here? And once again, folks, going back to the New Year's Day capture that we had on the stereo Core 2 imaging, they've already scrubbed this. It's gone, pretty much. They've definitely made some changes in the Core 2 footage over the last 48 hours. I'll show it to you. They've gotten rid of it. Let me get up to that point. Oh, let me go back. I forgot to show you guys this picture when we were talking about the sun going dark. Well, here's your images. Sun going dark and the footage that NASA showed you. Same spacecraft, but this was uploaded and then this is scrubbed. Identical picture, identical time frame, date, everything's identical. You can see the sunspot identifying marker here and here. Another one here and here. Same thing here and here. These are just in different wavelengths of ultraviolet light, giving you the yellow color, giving you the green color. Once again, scrubbed image, true image. Sun going dark, NASA hiding it. Sun going dark, NASA hiding it. Can't deny it. So for the dude in the chat, Mr. Colton Rusher, NASA suck boy, now there's your proof. Now, this is the same image, folks, where we had the January 1st capture. NASA scrubbed this up a little bit, but as I put it through a few filters, they didn't do a very good job at all, because you can still see Planet X is leaving away from the sun, and this is on January 1st, 2018. So it's heading in this direction, from the sun out, but it comes right back in. Like I said, it's about 27 days, 27 to 30 days that it makes its quick rotation all the way around the sun. The sun's identified in the coronagraph as the white circle. The black circle is called an occulter. It blocks off the light of the sun, so they could see flares, coronal mass ejections, things of that nature. So it just blocks the corona of the sun. But bingo, there we have it, right there. So I just captured these, went back and, took a look at the same date and time to see if they scrubbed the information or tried to hide it, try to pixelate it, and sure enough, they did. But we already have the documented evidence from that day, And this is what they did here. They made it real bright. It didn't look like this in the beginning on January 1st. It looked totally different. It's a close-up. You can see they really, really scrubbed the image. They made it almost impossible to see. Another close-up of it. You can see the dark ring, perfect sphere. Also looks like there's two smaller spheres, one here, one here. Trust me, they have graphic artists in there. And you can see this is the original photograph from the coronagraph, stereo head core 2. You can see it right there. This has no filters, no changes, nothing. Do-do-do-do. You know, and if we go back to the original photograph on the 1st, and this was leading up to finding this object, because the coronal mass ejection that occurred on January 1st, it still has not been listed, like it never even happened. So if you go back in progression from 1654, you can see it will develop. And then bingo, there it is, 1739-24. And you can see how the coronal mass ejection definitely affected the sensors and detectors on the stereo core 2 spacecraft. You'll get this interference that you see in the background, this black shading, this high pixelization. The sensors get overloaded from the CME ejection, but it was enough for us to make the capture right here. This was just put through another filter, giving you a much more clearer view of what was there. So Mr. Know-It-All in the chat, Colton Rush, is that dude still in there? I never liked that name, Colton. But anyways, if he thinks that NASA has proven that Planet X is not there, he's just as big of a fool as they are. So, I mean, if NASA has proven that Planet X doesn't exist, well, then what the hell is that? I mean, can you prove that, Mr. Colton Rush? Any, naysayers out there, smart asses, know-it-alls? I mean, can you tell me what that is, where my cursor is? I'll give you a few minutes to suck that up. Okay, well, I just kicked these little fruitcakes out of the chat. But yeah, folks, I mean, this is what we try to find. And I mean, there's no doubt. Somebody said it's blurry. Well, of course it's blurry. It just came out of a massive coronal mass ejection. It's 93 million miles away. What do you think? This was a Kodak moment. So, what, you're going to tell me that this perfectly round sphere just shows up in the Core 2 image right after a coronal mass ejection. I've been studying this more than 20 years. Trust me, that's not an anomaly. It's not what the trolls call a JPEG artifact. That's our planet X. I'll just leave it on the screen for a minute. You know, folks, I could go back and I can show you hundreds of photographs that I've captured over the years. I've publicized all of them on my YouTube channel. Here's another filter where we changed just some of the lighting so we can get a better view of the object that was captured on January 1st. And yes, it is a little blurry, but you can clearly pick out the sphere right here. And folks, Dr. Albers, she did some calculations on some of the earlier footage that we captured. And she's absolutely a super mathematician. I mean, she's a trained physicist, multiple master's degrees and a doctorate in physics, top of her class, professor of physics for 17 years. She calculates this object based on everything that we've seen and the information that we've gathered, that this object is pretty close to 3 to 5 times the size of Jupiter. And Jupiter itself is a failed star. But this is the main issue, folks. This is the main problem out there with our sun. This is always going to be our nightmare in our lives now. I mean, this is what we are now living. And that's what I've been explaining to people for a very long time. The life that you knew in the past, it's pretty much gone. You know, you may go on living your day-to-day life and not recognize anything that's happening around you. And if you continue to do things that way, the laws of probability kind of catch up to you. And when there is something that goes wrong, whether it be weather-related, earthquakes, volcanoes, even governments, well, you're going to be caught with your pants down. You're not going to have any of the knowledge about what is happening or what's just happened in the recent past leading up to this time frame. It's very important. As this object continues in its rotation around the sun, we're going to continue to have these issues. From what I've been looking at going into this spring and this summer of 2018, it's not looking too good. There are some solar system dynamics that are setting up with our planets. Mars, Venus, Mercury, the Sun, the Earth. There are some dynamics that are setting up throughout the months of July through the end of August that may increase the stress on the Earth due to planetary alignments and Planet X and the Sun. These dynamics that are setting up for July and August 2018, they don't look too good, folks. I'm going to be quite honest with you. The potential for massive catastrophic earthquakes is really, really setting up in this time frame. Also, we're going to be dealing with another hurricane season about that time. And because of that setup in July and August, this upcoming summer, we may be looking at a hurricane season that will be 3 times as bad as it was this past summer. You could all quote me on that. Because some of what just happened this past summer also had some other planetary dynamics involved in it. Not only just Planet X, but the tilting of our Earth, the jet streams. I mean, there were a lot of dynamics that set things up for this past summer. And if you want to throw in some geoengineering and some weather manipulation and control, you have the perfect mixture for catastrophes. And we all saw them play out. They were absolutely horrible. My heart still goes out for everybody in the Caribbean and Puerto Rico. They're still living in the dark. Things are bad in Puerto Rico because of what happened. And the power of this world can't help any of these people because the governments don't choose to. We could go to war, pay for all that, trillions of dollars, but we can't go and help the people in the Caribbean and Puerto Rico and in our own country here on the mainland, and for everybody in Houston, down there in Texas that went through hell this past summer. We can spend trillions on war, but we can't help our own damn people. You're going to have more and more of that, folks. I mean, you're going to have more and more of the you're on your own. So again, I'm sorry I have to beat a dead horse in the ear, but listen, gathering this information, sharing this information, and understanding it, believing in it, you're only doing yourself a favor. Being one step ahead of the game is the key. I mean, if you want to sit back, denounce it, not understand it, don't believe in it, hey, do just that. But as they say, when the walls come tumbling down, they're probably going to come tumbling down right on top of you. It is a sad world that we're living in right now, but we all have to survive. We all have to have that will to fight. I think a very large number of all of you do have that in you. You have families, you have friends that you love, your own life that you enjoy. We're looking at a tough run here, folks. 2018, it's probably going to be one of those years that go down in the history books. We're only a few days into this new year. We've had this Planet X find and capture on January 1st. We have absolutely horrendous weather. We have winter hurricanes, cyclones on the East Coast, wild weather systems setting up on the West Coast in the Pacific, extreme heat and temperatures in Australia off the chart, governments just going absolutely insane, New World Order trying to take their place in all of this, deception, cheats, scumbags. Man, we got our hands full, folks. Big time. Let's take a quick look at earthquake data, and then I'll let you all go to sleep. Earthquake data is something that we definitely have to keep track of. Earlier today, there were a few earthquakes up in Canada. They've been removed from this map already. I posted the information on the Planet X News Facebook page. Everything will always be there, folks. But what you're looking at right now in a current situation is a pretty wild-looking triangular outbreak of earthquakes north of San Francisco, straight across into Nevada, straight down to the border of Mexico, straight back up the San Andreas Fault. There you go. That's current right now. Small outbreak of earthquakes in the state of Washington, right over the border in Princeton, Canada. Set the map back up. Another big outbreak up here in Alaska. This is a very, very active zone, so it's kind of to be, expected. Unusual earthquake way up in the northern tier. Very rare. Very rare. We've seen several earthquakes on the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. There's a fracture that runs straight up through the Atlantic, right up through here. 6 hours ago, magnitude 4.9, very shallow. There was another one down here just less than 24 hours ago. 58 minutes ago, magnitude 4.2 over in Turkey, very shallow. Now, yesterday and the day before, there was a line of earthquakes that just stretched completely straight across China, Middle East, Mediterranean, a perfect straight line. So the earthquake situation's getting a little, it's getting a little unusual. It's getting very, very active. We'll take a look at the European model real quick. This is all of the earthquakes over the past 24 hours. Anything you see in purple, like this, has happened within the last hour. So you can see the world just riddled with these earthquakes. The volcanic activity also is just off the chart. You really haven't heard too much about earthquake activity as of lately. There are still a lot of active volcanoes. There are 30 of them. I'm going to go over here to the volcano map real quick. I believe there's about 30 active volcanoes in full eruption mode. We'll take a look as of today, the 5th. So this is what you're looking at right now for your current eruptions. Everything in red is a volcano that is considered by volcanologists in complete eruption mode. Not just smoking. So you can see the world volcanoes, and folks, this is not all of the volcanoes. This is just the volcanoes that are in full eruption right now. Really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What's happening? What's going on? People start asking that question. What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? A lot is happening, folks. I'm going to jump over here to the Planet X News website. And folks, if you don't click on these stories when I share them, it's all valuable information to let you know what is happening around the world. A very unusual situation occurred in Alberta Beach, Canada. Very weird situation. The title of the article is Seismic Activity Confirmed. consistent with reported earthquake damage in Alberta Beach, Canada. Look at the cracks in the ground. This is a whole entire article based on what just occurred up there in Alaska. Really freaked these people out. And this is just not one little crack. There are multiple areas where the ground just cracked wide open during this earthquake. This was January 3rd. This was out on a lake. Something occurred during that earthquake, and it literally crushed all the ice together and pushed it up. There are two videos in this article that are from the local news station up there in Alberta Beach. And yeah, they were pretty freaked out also. There's a lot of articles that are on the Planet X News website every single day. And a lot of it upcoming will be weather related. And, you know, the earthquakes. Always information on the earthquakes up here. This was an apocalyptic storm that I was mentioning to you guys earlier when I was talking about the weather here in the U.S. What happened in Ecuador, again, just absolutely insane. Once again, massive hailstorm, huge storm, filling the streets with ice. January 2nd. Here's the video of it. More information, more photographs. I mean, look at this. Crazy. A wealth of information on the Planet X News website, folks. Definitely share the articles that are on there. And you guys make sure that you are subscribed to the Planet X News YouTube channel. This is where we do a lot of our, or most of our live streaming. And there is a wealth of information that I put up every single day over the course of time with my YouTube channel. You know, we've reached over 17 million views. I've produced pretty close to 1,300 videos, all on this channel, all pertaining to Planet X and what is occurring. So there's a playlist over here. You can always click on that playlist, or you can simply go through the videos and keep yourself up to date. Everything's on here, everything that you need to know. The best captures in Planet X that you'll find. No doubt about it. So, you know, get over there and subscribe and set your notifications by clicking on that little bell. Make sure they're set up. Get all of the notifications. And if you don't see them, they're always on the Planet X News Facebook page. You also have Dr. Albers' YouTube channel with all of her reports. She does some absolutely fantastic articles. All of her information is right up on the Planet X Physicist YouTube channel. If you click back to Planet X News, if you just pan down a little bit, you'll have featured channels right over here. Our secondary channel, Dr. Albers' channel, they're right there, the links. You can click right on them. Also on the Planet X News website, you have direct links to our main channel and Dr. Albers' channel and our research channel. They're all pretty much the same. Dr. Albers' channel, these are all of her reports that she does daily. So all of the information is there, folks. It is at your fingertips. You can share the information, such as these articles. Click on the share tab, share it to Facebook, Twitter, Google Plus, get the link, click on OK. You can go back to Facebook and share it as a post. Dr. Albers and I, we're going to try to do a live stream tomorrow and go over some more information. But listen, folks, dealing with this weather situation, heed those warnings. Things are not going to get any better anytime soon. So you don't want to get caught out there in a bad situation, in a vehicle, on the side of a road. I mean, just be very, very careful. Things are not going to get better anytime soon. We will keep track of everything. Stay alert for all of our posts. Make sure you're following us on the Planet X News Facebook page. Go ahead and pull that up real quick. Our Facebook page gives me the ability to share information very, very quickly. And, again, folks, whenever you see the information posted, click on the share button, share it. The more people see what you're following, sooner or later, they'll start getting interested. They may not talk about it, but they'll be clicking on the links and they'll be reading up. And then they'll start to wonder, oh, wow, I might want to pay attention to some of this. So that's the key. Forming our network worldwide. That's what we need to do. That's what we need to do. But listen, folks, I'm going to go ahead and cut this live stream off. It's been great being here with you tonight. I hope everybody learned at least something. And if you have any questions for me, you could inbox them to me right here on the Planet X News Facebook page. It might take me a little bit of time to get back to you because I have so much going on. But I will get back to you, and we will address your questions. And we'll go from there. Listen, folks, all of you, please be very, very safe. Take care. Pay close attention to what's happening out there. It's not going to get any better anytime soon. Take care.